Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Silver Years. My name is DK, and I'm very happy to be here, and I humbly thank you for joining me. Today, I'd like to talk about what I'm calling the Great Divide, or better yet, the Great Divide in realities. And this is less about how we've been separated and divided against each other, even though that is indeed an issue, but this is more about how we see and experience our world, our reality, not necessarily about what is actually happening around us, but how we perceive what's happening around us. It makes me think of that old idiom about how much water do you see in the glass? Remember that one? Do you see the glass as half empty or as half full? In the end, it's not about who's right or who's wrong, because maybe both are. It's all about how you perceive what's in the glass. Well, there are many metaphysical or invisible laws in the universe that apply to our world as we know it, whether we acknowledge these or believe in them or not. For example, our world here on planet Earth is governed by gravity, whether you believe in gravity or not. Your belief in it has no bearing on its existence. It just is. And try defying it if you dare. Gravity is the invisible force that connects you to the physicality of the Earth, and it holds our material reality in place. It is a universal law of nature in this realm. Even if the deficient science we're taught in school can't honestly explain to us what actually creates gravity, they still can't. Gravity is just one of many invisible laws in the universe that influence the nature around us and the realities we experience. Another universal law is that our thoughts create our reality. I know. This can be a hard one to grasp. I know this because it took me a very long time to even come to grips with the possibility that I alone was responsible for my perceptions and not something or some authority figure outside of me telling me how I should perceive my reality. This is the belief system trap we've all been subjected to from the moment we're born into this realm. We're taught to believe we're helpless victims, that things are happening to us, coming from outside of us, and are therefore not our responsibility. Instead of being taught that we are responsible for our own perceptions and experiences, and that we are the creators and the masters of our realm, period. A very polarized contrast in personal power, right? The only thing that benefits when we're helpless, frightened, and disempowered is the matrix system that is designed to keep us blind and enslaved. Seeing the matrix for what it truly is, what its purpose is, seems to be is part of what our learning experience on this earth is about. And we do that by remembering who we are, by remembering that we hold within us the power of the source of all that is. And this includes remembering the universal law that our thoughts create our reality. To know you create your reality with your thoughts, thoughts that manifest through your speech and actions, is a tremendous responsibility. This means there would be no one outside of you to shade with blame. There's an ancient axiom as old as time that basically says, with great power comes great responsibility. So ask yourself, if it all came down to you, all of the power to create anything, how would you wield that power and what would you create? This is the question we're all having to ask ourselves at this pivotal time of great change as we begin remembering and taking back our power and sovereignty in order to consciously create what we want in the world and not what the matrix wants us to create in order to sustain itself. Think about that for a minute and what that means. And no, this doesn't mean that the matrix isn't going to throw blocks and challenges our way and create hiccups in our creations. We aren't here alone, and this is a collective experience with all beings on this planet operating under collective agreements, known or unknown. Nothing about this is cut and dried. The choices and behaviors of others is not your responsibility, nor is it within your power of control. That can be a hard thing to understand and accept sometimes. The fact is, people will leave your life when your perceptions about personal responsibility changes. While all true, that's not my point here. My point is we all have the power to create solutions that dismantle the matrix and its mind controlling enslavement. Every single one of us, regardless of age or education. So, how does this universal law that our thoughts create our reality really work from a practical point of view? Well, it's both physical and energetic, and it's all about frequency. Frequency is the key. Everything is frequency. Even gravity is a frequency. Your belief in it or not is also a frequency. The frequency doesn't care. Frequency is, at its core, neutral, but it is the magic wand. It is, as some would say, the Holy Spirit. It is the ether filled with potential. And you alone are in control of the frequencies you create with your body and what emits from it, just like a frequency receptor and an emitter. I think back in the day they called that a radio, maybe. Frequencies in, frequencies out. I think it's universally known that our bodies are primarily made up of water. Water is essentially crystal in liquid form. It not only holds memory, it's powerful and so very magical in more ways than one, and this has been scientifically proven. Quartz crystal is a known conductor of piezoelectricity, a frequency. And these little crystals are openly used in watches and technology, amongst other numerous things we use on a daily basis. Not only are our bodies primarily comprised of a crystalline liquid, our bones are crystal based as well and are known to conduct energy long after the flesh that covered those bones is gone. A little investigation into what the real reasons are for the catacombs underneath some major cities may bring you to a better understanding of the powerful frequency held within the bones of our bodies. Our bodies also have an antenna we were never taught about, an antenna that connects our crystalline bodies to the etheric plasma waves that surround us. The energetic plasma that surrounds us all, like the ocean surrounds a fish, only we call it air instead of water. You know, ether is a real thing. It was an element once listed on our periodical tables. The Rockefeller education system that we have all been dumbed down by had ether removed from the scientific periodical tables. Right about the same time, it inverted the food pyramid and changed our music tuning frequency to 440 hertz from the harmonious 432 hertz. All this much to our physical harm and ignorant detriment. Anyhow, ether is real. It always has been. And our bodies connect with the ether of all that is with our personal built in antenna, and that antenna is called the pineal gland. The pineal gland is a small little pine cone shaped gland that sits in the middle of our brains, where many metaphysicians would say the third eye is located, the middle of the forehead between the eyes. Every thought you have vibrates out a frequency from your pineal gland through this third eye location in your forehead, similar to that of a sonar wave you might see emitted from a dolphin when communicating. What this tells me is that our bodies are advanced technology. Our bodies are electromagnetic. Our bodies are amazing systems that are highly advanced. So advanced, in fact, that the matrix parasites are working overtime to convince us that they are not. The system needs us to believe in our deficiency. It needs us to believe the opposite of what is true so that we choose a transhumanistic path enhanced by voluntarily inserting synthetic AI chips and nanotech into our biology. This synthetic path disconnects us completely from the crystalline advanced technology in our bodies and divides us from an organic path that is activated through remembering who we are and allowing us to use our power of thought to consciously create a different reality. This remembering who you are is what the mystics call enlightenment. So, what tools have the matrix parasites used to convince us that we can only be saved through synthetic AI and artificial matrix solutions? Aside from the vast dumbing down and mind control programming offered through our school system education, our bodies, which means our advanced technology, are being poisoned and made sick through every means imaginable. Our pineal glands, our antennas, have been calcified with a hardened shell, so their ability to vibrate, receive, and transmit frequency is significantly compromised and distorted. Calcification is caused by fluoride consumption, amongst other things. Fluoride, we're falsely told, is good for our teeth and bones. We're told it makes them stronger, when in fact, the opposite is true. Fluoride is in our water and most toothpaste. Fluoride is a known neurotoxin used in the World War II concentration camps to sedate the captives and make them sick. Governments in this country are still permitting fluoride in municipal water supplies almost 100 years later, knowing the toxic effects. Yet, the crystalline bones and pineal glands of our people are being compromised with FDA and government approval. After fluoride, there's the chemicals in our synthetic plastic clothing, the chemicalized fake foods we are provided through big food and fast food, the GMO'd fruits and vegetables overtaking our food supply, the forever chemicals in our cleaning supplies and personal care products like deodorants, creams and lotions, shampoos, conditioners, to name but a few. The heavy metals, aluminum, barium, and strontium in the chemtrails that poison the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the foods we consume grown in the soils they fall on. You can't even drink rainwater anymore without filtering it for heavy metals, parasites, and toxins. These are just a few of the ways the matrix parasites have aggressively used to keep us from remembering who we are and how powerful and advanced our organic bodies are. And we can, with care, commitment, and awareness, reverse many of the effects from this toxic onslaught and poisoning. We hold the power to say no, and we have the power to create a different reality. We simply need to choose something different. And every new creation begins with a thought. A wise astrologer friend once told me decades ago that the ending and the beginning of a cycle looks the same. And over time, I've come to appreciate the wisdom of these words. And what I've noticed with the splitting of realities before me today, between the artificial path that feeds on itself until it can no longer be sustained, and the organic path that creates by connecting to the source of all that is while using the sustainable elements of nature. There is definitely an overlay of confusion and chaos at this time. But in all this, it's apparent. One cycle is ending and a new cycle is beginning. The great divide of realities is here, and your perceptions will let you know where you align. Now, let me just say, as a reminder, that like most of the things I discuss on my channel, this topic is extremely multi-layered and multifaceted, which means that it's not just one thing that makes it all so. It's many layers of things over time that has gotten us to where we are today. What I'm trying to shed light on here are simply some of the significant factors, the lies, inconsistencies, and duplicities that I've observed when it comes to sustaining a matrix reality from a mindset of fear and victimhood through limiting belief systems versus creating a new reality through the potential of an open mind rooted in healthy sustainability. All said, in the end, I feel it's our responsibility to get educated, to learn as much as we can about how to work with the advanced technology of our bodies and the natural frequencies we hold within, so as to empower ourselves with a new vision, a new perception, in order to create a new reality based on what we want and not on what we fear. This part of creation is on us, and each and every one of us has a part to play in this. So, before I go, I'd like to leave you with a question to ponder, as I like to do. What would be the first thing you'd consciously change in your life, knowing that you could create something else? Please leave your comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, be well, choose love, and thank you. Thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.